Let's speak now to Henry Ensher, who's a former US ambassador. He joins us live from San Diego in California. Welcome to the program. So we've been speaking since this war began on the 28th of February. This is now the day 31 of the conflict. Do you think Donald Trump is where he expected to be on day 31, entering now into the second month of this war?
So, first of all, thanks again for having me. Second, the answer to your question is no. I actually think, based on some things that he has said in public, is that he expected to end this rather quickly with a much more Venezuela-like scenario. The staying power and depth of the Iranian regime, I think, has been a surprise to him and others in the U.S. administration. And so now the question is, how quickly can he extract himself from this war? And I think his language today, to the effect that there has been an effective regime change already, is another indicator of readiness to get out.
And there are more US troops on the way. Some, I understand, have already arrived. And we've discussed this point on the program before, when you've said that when such a huge military deployment goes to an area, it is used. How do you tie in what you've said with regards to that being used to today's Truth Social post, when he said, if the Strait of Hormuz is not immediately open for business, we'll conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, cargo islands, and possibly desalination plants?
So there's two factors here that I'm afraid might come together. The first factor is exactly that U.S. military forces at this level, when they're deployed, they tend to get used for something. And secondly, the Iranian tendency to overreach. That is to say, I suspect that they have a deal in hand right now that will enable them to survive. But if they continue to press for more, let's say, for example, if they continue to demand control over sovereignty over Hormuz, then that could provoke the institutional reaction from the U.S. military and from the U.S. president. And there will be an effort to simply take control themselves, that is, by the U.S. military. So both sides, I think, would be well served by taking a deep breath and taking the available deal right now, which is, one, the Iranian government, the regime survives, and two, the Strait of Hormuz reopens.
Do you think that there is such a deal, as you say, a deal to survive at the moment? And what makes you think that?
So I think that it just looks to me as if any regime, like the Iranian regime, which has been hit so hard and has had so many levels removed from it, must certainly be experiencing some turbulence, some chaos. For example, today we noticed that the Speaker of the Parliament, as you indicated, said that the Supreme Leader is the one making all the decisions, okay? But we haven't heard from him directly, right? So I'm inclined to see the Speaker's statement as an indicator that there are maneuvers inside the regime that, frankly, we don't fully understand. But there's a need to make sure that the unifying figure of the Supreme Leader is still respected, whatever his condition might be.
Thank you so much, Henry Ensher. Always a pleasure to speak to you here on TRT World. Thank you for coming on again.
Thanks.